Welcome back to another video. We are looking at Bleacher Report's grading every NBA team's 2024 NBA draft. And then I'm also going to be giving out my, personal grades on it. So basically, kind of like a 2-in-1, creating, my own like kind of tier list thing using the tier list maker, showing my personal draft grades. But then we're also going to be, going through Bleacher Reports because it shows obviously the prospects that they got and all that. Um, so first, I have the Atlanta Hawks, and they have them with an A. Personally, I don't think this is an A for them. I think at best it's a B, maybe even a C. I don't think Risa Shea is the best person in the draft or best player, and I think if you really like him, then I think it's someone that you could at least trade it down or try to at least do something else to still happen to get him at number one. I don't know. I'm not too big on it. Their second round pick, I don't really know too much about, so I can't really say too much about their second round pick. But also, if we're including everything in general, they also traded AJ Griffin away to get the 44th pick. To me, that doesn't also make sense either. So obviously, we're including trades involved with this, just overall the whole draft process. And I think a big part of that was the AJ Griffin trade I didn't like. I don't like Risache at 1. So I'm honestly going to probably give this a C. I don't agree with it being given an A. I think it's mediocre, which is, a C. They have the Boston Celtics with a B minus. They get Baylor Shireman and Anton Watson. Um, I guess a B minus makes sense. I feel like with the picks they had, you don't expect them to go out and get, a lot of insane talent. But I feel like number 30, Baylor Shireman is not that bad of a pick at all. I would have liked to maybe see them add, someone with more size, like a big. Just because in my past videos, you probably have seen I do kind of go over the fact that, Al Horford is pretty old and could be on the last few years. And then, Kristaps, he gets injured a lot, and he's going to miss the start of the season next year after, having surgery. So I feel like they should have added someone that's maybe a bit bigger. But I'm not mad at their picks. I think, a B minus makes about sense. Maybe even a C. Brooklyn Nets, they have incomplete, but for me, I'm giving this an F. For a team that, is clearly at the start of a rebuild, I know it's not that good of a draft, but to not have any picks in this draft, I feel like it's almost a waste of a year of rebuilding. You don't even have, a young player in this draft to now at least try to, see if they have some type of potential or anything. I don't know. To me, it makes no sense, especially with the route that they basically chose after the Mikal Bridges trade. Like not even a second round pick. So yeah, it's technically incomplete, but to me, I qualify that as honestly an F just because of the situation they're in. They need, I think, a draft pick. I think it makes a lot of sense for them to have someone to draft, and they didn't draft anyone. So, that's I don't know. Charlotte Hornets next. They have with a B minus with Tijon Salon and KJ Simpson. Um, I would honestly give this about a C also. Maybe, honestly, if I'm being really aggressive with it, a D. Not that I think Tajon Salon's going to be bad, but I think it's more so about where he could have been available. Now, I'm also not a GM, and I don't have all the inside rumors. Maybe there was other teams that would have took him, but I feel like this is a guy that you could have got if you traded back maybe to 9 with the Grizzlies, and the Grizzlies wanted Donovan Clingan a lot. Maybe they traded up, and you could have traded back to 9. I think you still could have got him at 9. So that's really my biggest problem with it. I don't know, insane amount about KJ Simpson either. As for a lot of the second round picks, I don't know a lot about. Some of them I obviously do. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think maybe I would give this another C. And it's mainly just off Tajon Salon. You could have got him, I think, at a later pick and got at least something in like a trade. But I think, Tajon Salon, he still has a nice potential. But I don't know, something with some of these guys, it's like he's either going to be, the next Giannis or he's going to be terrible. So we're going to have to find out. But I think, honestly, I would give it probably about a C. Next, I have the Bulls, or they have the Bulls with a B plus for the Bulls. Um, I mean, I would say a B plus is a pretty accurate. I'm personally gonna give it, probably a B plus if I had to give it, or that or an A minus. Once we get to the tier list, it's just gonna be B's, A's, and no like A plus, A minus, all that. But I mean, I feel like this, if it's out of all the B's, I think this is one of the better B's. So yeah, B plus. I think Matas Buzelis is definitely really good value at getting him at number 11, hometown kid. And I feel like the only reason why I don't have this as an A is because they only had one pick, and also because I feel like I don't want to have too many A's, and I feel like there's definitely other teams that had better drafts for sure. But yeah, Montes Buzelis, I think he's a really good pick, and I think he was a big steal. And from him falling, I thought he was going to go at 5 to the Pistons. They ended up taking a different wing in Ron Holland. So yeah, I would probably give this about a B plus too. Next we have the Cavs, who only got Jalen Tyson, and I don't know. I'm not big on Jalen Tyson, so me personally, I'm gonna give this probably like a C. I don't know. I'm just not big on Jalen Tyson too much. I think he's obviously a pretty good fit on the team in terms of he could just become like a pretty good role player for them, which I don't think they're trying to have a home run pick. So I mean, it's not the worst pick of all time for sure, but I don't feel like they did anything too like exciting either. For me, that's what would bring my grade up, is if they did something that I think really elevates the team. To me, I don't know how much Jalen Tyson really elevates the team. Like, I think he can make a decent impact, but I don't know. Next, we have the Dallas Mavericks, who got Melvin Ajinka with the 51st pick. I don't mind it. I would say the reason I don't mind it is because I think the biggest thing for them right now is they're trying to get cap space for the free agency and try to bolster the roster with more veterans rather than young players. So I don't really mind this for them. So for a personal grade, I would probably give it like a B. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They only had one pick in the second round. The Nuggets with an A. Now, I like Deron Holmes. For me to give it an A, though, I'm not too sure. And the main reason why is I feel like the value that they did to trade up for it was obviously not insane, but you gave up quite a bit of picks to move up. 28, 56, and I'm pretty sure they traded like 3 other second round picks. Something like that. But I think Deron Holmes is going to be really nice. I do like Deron Holmes a lot. Now, obviously, I more so question, what role he's going to have on this team. Probably, I would say, backup center, or maybe he develops for a year and then kind of takes that backup center role, or just a backup big in general. He could probably play the power forward for them. But yeah, so I do think that this guy is really good, but I would probably give it a B, not an A, because kind of like I was saying for the Bulls, I think there's definitely teams that had a better draft than this, and I don't have too many A's, so I would probably give this a B. The Pistons with an A, I'm not going to agree with this at all. I think the Pistons definitely, to me, I'm giving them way lower than an A. I'm going to give them a D, honestly. I like Bobby Klintman. I don't know how much I like him in this situation. I would have liked him, honestly, going to more of a team that's trying to compete. I feel like he just makes more sense. I mean, obviously, they're trying to compete, but I feel like, I don't know. And then with Ron Holland, I mean, maybe Ron Holland is going to be really nice, obviously. But it's more so the fact that, again, kind of like with, Tajon Salon, I think they definitely could have traded down and still got Ron Holland. I was hearing a lot of rumors before the draft that, like, Ron Holland was going to fall. And instead he actually went higher than he was expected to go. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think also with the shooting of Ron Holland, I mean, obviously could change, but based off the shooting, I don't think it makes sense to pair Ron Holland on this team where, they already, I mean, they kind of go over this. Question the Pistons for bringing another potentially bad shooter to the team. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The team's not good at shooting. You bring in another pretty bad shooter. I feel like there's definitely other guys you could have took at this position that I think made a lot more sense. Cody Williams, Matas Buzelis, stuff like that. I felt really made the difference. So honestly, because of that, I feel like I would give this probably a D. And I'm just being aggressive with it because I don't want to give everyone a C and a B, but I'm gonna give it a D just because I actually think it was not the right way to go about this for them. Next, I have the Warriors, who got Quinn Post. So this is interesting. It said that the Warriors traded the pick, and then they got it back, and they got Quinn Post. I mean, I don't mind it. I think the Warriors kind of are trying to realize that maybe balancing out young players and old players too much is going to kind of mess things up. So they only really have one pick here, 52. I do like Quinn Post, especially for the value at 52. One of the later picks in the draft. So, I mean, yeah, I can maybe agree with a B. I didn't expect the Warriors to do anything that crazy in the draft, and that's why I would say a B. Next is the Rockets, and they have them getting an A. And I'm going to honestly not give them an A, just because I feel like I like Reed Sheppard a lot, and a lot of these grades that I'm giving out are not me saying I don't like the player. I just don't like what the organization did. And I feel like with the Rockets, I thought for sure this pick was going to get traded. I would give them probably a B, just because I still think it's a good pick with Reed Sheppard, but I feel like this had high value. I know it's a worse draft class, so number 3 in this draft class isn't as valuable as it typically would probably be, but yeah, I mean, you traded, or I thought you should for sure trade this pick and try to go out and get someone to really elevate this team to that next step. And obviously maybe Reed Sheppard could be that guy that elevates them to the next step, but I feel like it just made more sense to trade. But I'm going to give it a B, not an A, just because I still do really like Reed Sheppard. Next, I have the Pacers with a B. I'm honestly giving them an A, or I'll have to see for sure. But I do really like their picks. I mean, I really like Tristan Newton. I like Johnny Furphy, and they are both second-round picks. I feel like this is a really good, addition to a team that already has a pretty good amount of young talent. And I do like their first 2 picks. I don't know as much about Enrique Freeman, but their top 2 picks I do really, really like, especially with Johnny Furphy. I think is pretty good value, especially as I thought he was someone that could have for sure went in the first round. So maybe we're going to have to get to it, but I think for the picks they had, I might have to give this an A. We'll have to see. Obviously, I don't want to give out too many, so they're between a B and an A. Next is the Clippers, who only got Cam Christie. I feel like this was a really good pickup for the Clippers. And so I would say a B just because it's one singular pick. So, yeah, I agree with Bleacher Report with a B, which I don't know. I feel like I haven't agreed much with what Bleacher Report's saying. But, yeah, I'm going to give that also probably a B, and I kind of agree with it. Next, I have the Lakers, and I'm going to give the Lakers an A, maybe. I don't know. Again, we'll have to see once we get down to it. But I feel like Dalton Knecht was really, really good value to get at 17, as this was a guy that, he was mock top 10 in a lot of, mock drafts, and he fell all the way to 17, which my biggest reason, where if you saw any of my mock drafts or reacting to mock drafts, my biggest reason why I didn't want him to go in the top 10 was because of his age, and that ended up being what was the reason why he did end up falling. But I think he's going to a really good situation. I like these older players going to teams that are more so competing. I didn't think he would fall to 17 at all. Like, I thought for sure once it got to number 12 with the Thunder, I thought the Thunder for sure were going to take him. And then once he didn't go there, I thought for sure the Kings were going to take him at 13. And then at 14, I didn't think he'd go. But at 15, for sure, I thought then when the Heat was up, I thought, okay, the Heat are going to want him. And he just kept falling, basically. So, and then same again, like at number 16 with the 76ers, I was like, okay, 76ers could definitely use a guy like him. Thought for sure he could be off the board. But yeah, so he basically just kept falling, and I really like it. And then the Bronny James thing, I think it's pretty cool. I don't know how much Bronny James is going to really be as a player, but I do think the Dalton Knecht pick was amazing for the Lakers, and I might give him an A just for that. Next, we have the Grizzlies, and I'm going to give this a D. I'm not big on Zach Edey at all. I think everyone's probably knows this if they watch any of my mock drafts or me reacting to mock drafts or anything, just in general about this draft. But I don't like this pick at all, especially because it's at number 9. If Zach Edey turns out well, that's great. But I feel like at number 9, I feel like you could have traded back if you wanted Zach Edey. I don't think he was going to go this high. And for that, I'm probably going to give this a D. Like, I don't think this was that good. I don't know too much about, obviously, their second round picks. But in terms of their first, Zach Edey, I feel like at number 9 is insane. Next, we have the Heat with a B. And I'm probably going to give them a B also. I do really like Khalil Ware. I think the biggest thing of why I don't know if I like the pick is more so about how it's going to fit. Like, obviously, they literally just extended Bam Adebayo, I think, literally hours before the draft. And then they go out and draft a big man. And obviously, I think Bam could play the power forward. But, I don't know. I have to see the fit. He probably would play backup mainly, obviously. But if he turns out to be really, really good, the fit is still going to be interesting. So that's why I don't know how much I like it. That's why I'll give it a B. But I do like Khalil Ware as a player. I do actually really like Pele Larson also, who they got in the second round. And so, yeah, I do really like their draft. I'd probably give them a B. Next, they have the Bucks with a C. And I might have to give this a B. I don't know how much I like the A.J. Johnson pick at 23. I feel like you could have got that maybe flip-flopped. Like, I honestly think these could have flip-flopped. I think Tyler Smith could have went 23, and I think A.J. Johnson could have went 33. But, yeah, I feel like if I do end up giving him a B, I am kind of stuck between C and B. But if I do give him a B, it's mainly because of Tyler Smith. I really like Tyler Smith for them. Maybe not so much in the situation, as I feel like it would be cool to see him kind of develop on a team where, he's not on a team that's trying to win right now. But, yeah, I do really like Tyler Smith mainly. A.J. Johnson, not as big on. But, yeah, so I don't mind it. I would maybe give it a C or B. We'll have to see once I get, obviously, to the tier list. Next is the Timberwolves, and they have them at a B+, but I definitely think this is an A+ draft. A+ draft for the Timberwolves. Getting Rob Dillingham was probably the most surprising thing in the draft that they got, the trade up for him. And I think everyone knows this also. I'm really big on Terrence Shannon. I think Terrence Shannon, especially at 27, is insane value, especially for a Timberwolves team that was just the number 1 defense. And I feel like with Terrence Shannon, you add a lot of good defense, a good 3-and-D guy. I think he's going to fit really well. And then especially with the Rob Dillingham trade, like, you gave up 2 first-round picks that are, like, really late down the road, kind of, But with this team being really young, as long as nothing goes wrong, those picks still won't be probably that good of picks anyways. I think if Rob Dillingham ends up being your point guard of the future, you now have, I think, a really, really good future. Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards, Rob Dillingham, Terrence Shannon, I think, could be a really big piece. Naz Reid. Cat is still relatively not too old. I don't know how much his future is going to be with this team, because who knows if they, are looking to make another move. I feel like he would be the next guy that would be traded, if anything. But yeah, I feel like they have a lot of young players. I do really like this for them. I think these 2 picks were amazing for them. I'm not going to lie. So I don't agree with B+. I think this is an A+ draft for them. Next, they have the Pelicans with a B. And I'm going to honestly give this possibly an A. Again, we'll have to see once we get down to it. But I might give this an A. I feel like they address a really good need here with Yves Missi. And then Antonio Reeves is a guy that I feel like was pretty slept on in this draft. Like, obviously, he's older. But especially for a weak draft class, I feel like he was an amazing scorer. And he didn't play at, like, one of the, lower name schools that doesn't have that competitive of a conference or anything. Like, he played in big games. He was good in big games. If you see, literally, he put up 20 points while shooting 44% from the 3. I mean, that's really good to add. I think especially with adding shooters around Zion, something that's going to be really big for them. So I like both their picks, and I honestly might give them an A for it, because I feel like it addresses the center need, and you get a really good shooter here that I feel like was kind of slept on. Good value at 47. So I do really like their draft. Next, we have the Knicks with an A, and I honestly might give them an A also, especially with them getting 5 second-round picks for number 26. and I really like their draft. Like, I mean, obviously, Pacome Dadier or whatever. I think it was more of a not too sure if I thought they were gonna go with him at 25, but I think he has high potential. And obviously, I think the big thing of why I give this an A is Tyler Kolek and Kevin McCullough are two guys that I feel like are really, really good value. Tyler Kolek, I thought he was going to honestly, in the first round. Kevin McCullough also was someone that I feel like a lot of people kind of thought would maybe go in the first round. So because of that, I feel like they got a lot of good picks. And also, like I said, with the trade with the Thunder where they traded one of their picks for some seconds, they also got some more seconds trading back from 24 to 26. So they got a lot of future picks that they, at least regain capital now after trading a lot of it, a lot of draft capital from the Mikal Bridges trade. So obviously that is something that I think really is good for them. Next is the Thunder with a B+. And I'm going to have to give this probably a D. Topic, I feel like he could be a really, really good player possibly, but I feel like the big reason why I bring it down is because, one, I mean, I feel like the injury concerns with Topic is a big part of it, and then trading 5 second-round picks for Dylan Jones I feel like is kind of insane. I feel like Dylan Jones would be available in the second round, and for you to trade up to get someone that is a reach, I think, with 5 second-round picks is kind of crazy. I know they have a lot of, draft capital, but, like, at the same time, I feel like it's, use it for something better than that. I feel like trading 5 seconds for it is kind of crazy. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's just me being aggressive. I don't know. Maybe I'll give it a C rather than a D, but who knows? We'll see once I get, obviously, to the thing where we really rate them. Next, we have the Magic with an A with Tristan da Silva. Maybe get an A, maybe give it a B. I like Tristan da Silva as a good fit for them, but I did really like Jacoby Walter, and he was on the board, still available, so I felt like that was a pick that made a little more sense. But I still do really like this pick for them, so maybe I'll agree with an A. I don't know. I'll have to see. Next, we have the 76ers with a B. Jared McCain and Adem Bona. And I really like both their picks. So maybe once we get down to it, I'll give them an A. I don't know. I feel like they had honestly a pretty good draft. I do like Adem Bona all the way down at 41. I think is pretty good value in the second round. And I am also someone who likes Jared McCain. Only thing I would say is maybe I question the fit of, him and Tyrese Maxey if they were to share a backcourt together. Obviously, I think early on, Jared McCain would probably come off the bench as just a backup for Tyrese Maxey. But, long term, if they're both really good, what are you going to do? Because they're both undersized, not that great, defensively. I just feel like it's a really small backcourt. Next, we have the Suns with a B. I might give them an A, honestly. And I feel like the reason why is I feel like I really like their pick of Ryan Dunn. And I feel like also the trade back to get Ryan Dunn is what they did. They traded from 22 down to 28, and they got draft capital out of trading back. And they are a team that doesn't have draft capital, so I feel like that's a big part of it for me. They ended up trading back, getting some capital, and still getting, I think, Ryan Dunn, who I think is a really, really nice fit as someone that you could add as an instant impact role player for this team. So I do really like, honestly, their draft, and they might be one of the teams I think give an A. Next, we have the Trailblazers with an A-, and they only got Donovan Clingan. If we're including, obviously, the trade where they got Deni Avdija, then I would maybe give them a B. I don't know. I think it's more so I like Donovan Clingan. It's just I don't know how the fit is going to be on this team. And obviously, I know, they don't have a solidified, player on this team, really, even with DeAndre Ayton and Robert Williams. But I think for sure Robert Williams is for sure going to get traded now. Because it's finding minutes is going to be hard. But I do kind of question the fit, I guess, of what are they going to do? Are they going to bring Donovan Clingan off the bench for DeAndre Ayton? I don't know. I mean, I don't mind it. That's why I'd give it a B, but I wouldn't give it an A because I don't think it's super great. Next, they have the Kings with a B+. They only got Devin Carter. And I could probably agree with this as a B+, maybe an A. I think it was a really good pick for them. Makes a lot of sense for a team that I think is trying to, compete. Then they traded Davion Mitchell away, and they got Jalen McDaniels. So I guess if we're also including that, that's another thing that I think also is pretty good. Next we have the Spurs with a B plus, and I would probably give them a B. The main thing for me is the Rob Dillingham trade I didn't like, and I feel like that plays a role in this. But I really like Stephon Castle. I think Juan Nunez is also a pretty good pick for a team that, everyone already knows the biggest problem it feels like is his teammates, getting Wemby the ball. They get Juan Nunez, really, really good passer, possibly one of the best, passers in the draft. So yeah, like I do really like this. I would probably give them. I would agree with a B plus, maybe a B, just because of the Rob Dillingham trade. I think you could have definitely used that 8th pick. But hey, maybe those picks down the road turn out to be really, really good. Who knows? That's literally middle schoolers right now. Next we have the Toronto Raptors with a B. And, I mean, I might give them a B or an A. I don't know. I mean, both I think are possible grades I would agree with, or at least understand. I do like Jacoby Walter. I like Jonathan Mogbo, and I like all their picks. I think the biggest thing is the potential factor. I think the only one who really has insane potential is Jacoby Walter. I don't know. I have to see. Maybe I give them an A. Maybe I give them a B. I do really like their picks, though. Next is the Utah Jazz with A+, and I fully agree. I think this is the biggest winner of the draft out of all the teams because they got possibly, if you said 3 years ago to look at this this draft, and you were to say who's going to be the top guys in this draft, literally these are some of the top guys. Even if you look right here, it says Kyle Filipowski was the number 4 recruit in his high school class. Isaiah Collier and Cody Williams were 1st and 5th in theirs. Now all 3 are on the Jazz. So yeah, like literally, I think this is insane for them to get all 3. Really good pick at 10. Really good pick at 29. And I think Kyle Filipowski going to 32 in the second round is also really, really good. Now obviously, I've heard there's a whole situation with Kyle Filipowski. But in terms of a basketball player standpoint, I think this is a really good pick. But off the court stuff, obviously, I don't want to go down into that because it sounds kind of crazy, a little interesting. Next, we have the Wizards with a B+, and I'm going to give them an A. I think this is another A. I do really like Alex Sarr, number 2. I think this is basically like the first pick in the draft. I feel like he should have been the first pick. Bub Carrington, I'm really high on. He's actually my favorite player in this draft class. And I feel like it's really nice to add him, especially with, getting Alex Sarr. You get a point guard now. And I do also like Keyshawn George. I feel like Keyshawn George is also a really good pick that you could add possibly on the wing or at the 2. And you really just got 3 guys that you could all possibly instantly insert into your starting lineup or into one of your, top, rotational guys. And I do think all of them have really good potential to be really good. So I think this is also an A. So now let's go over to the tier list so that we could, kind of give out my final kind of tier rankings for the draft. Because, we're done with that. First, we're going to give out, or this has S tier. So, actually, we're going to take out S tier. We're going to take out S tier. Or no, we're going to leave it on. We're going to get rid of it. We're going to get rid of S tier. Okay? Anyways, the colors are reversed, but who really cares about that? Okay? We're fine. Anyways, A, I'm giving the Jazz an A. We went over that. Who else are we giving an A again? Where were they just at? The Wizards. The Wizards, I'm giving an A. The Knicks, I'm giving an A. I'm going to give the Lakers an A. I do really like the Lakers draft. The Nets, I'm giving an F. The Bulls, for now, B+-ish, so B. The Thunder, right now, I have at a D. These are kind of just rough kind of gradings. D, B. Right now, B. Warriors, I'll just give them a C, actually, maybe. Hornets, probably a C or a D. C for now. D. I think B right now. B. B. C, actually. B. C. B. The obviously A. I'm gonna give them an A. I do really like the Pelicans draft. I'm not gonna lie. B, C, C, probably probably a C. Do like Tyler Smith, like I said, but 76ers, I will probably give a B. There's a lot of B's, I feel like, so I don't know. I want to give one more A because of that, maybe. I don't know. We'll give it to the Kings. I do like the Devin Carter pick. I'd probably say it's an A. And then out of all the B's, I'd probably say the Bulls is the highest B, and then maybe the Suns. We have this with probably a B, and then I would say just a C. So, this is kind of, I guess, kind of rough, pretty quick, my gradings. We have the Jazz, the Wizards, the Knicks, the Timberwolves, the Lakers, the Pelicans, and the Kings is basically the biggest winners of this draft. Quickly go over it again. Yeah, Jazz, Cody Williams, Kyle Filipowski, and Isaiah Collier, I think are all really, really good picks, really good value for where they were drafted. Wizards, Alex Sarr, Bub Carrington, I do really, really like. They got Keyshawn George. And then the Knicks, they had 4 picks. I feel like also with the trades that they made with the Thunder, I do really like. And then the Timberwolves, amazing draft, getting Rob Dillingham, Terrence Shannon. Dalton Knecht for the Lakers, I feel like, is why I'm giving this an A. I don't think they were looking for too many guys, and they got one guy, and I feel like it was a really, really good singular pick, basically. They got Bronny also, but, first-round pick-wise, they got one guy that I think really matters. I like both the picks for the Pelicans with Antonio Reeves and Yves Missi. Addressing some needs. I do really like it. For the Kings, obviously, really like it. And then for the Bs, obviously, we have all them. I'm not going to go over it again. But for the Ds, the reason why, I feel like, do we give them a D also? I'm not going to be too aggressive. I do really like Tajon Salon. I do also like Ron Holland, I guess. But anyways, so D, basically, I feel like the 5 second-round picks trade to reach for a guy, Dylan Jones, made no sense. Topic, obviously the injury concerns. I do really like him as a player, possibly. He could obviously maybe be one of the best guys in the draft, but at the same time, I don't know how much I like it. Zach Edey at number 9, I don't like, so they're getting a D. And then the Pistons, I feel like Ron Holland, if you really liked him, you could have traded down. And if, at number 5, I think there was other wings that made more sense because he's not a good shooter. They already don't have a good shooting team. It made no sense, to me at least. And then the F, obviously, the Nets team who had 0 picks, and they also are in a rebuild. So rebuilding and also not having any picks don't really go too well. So yeah, that's kind of my complete, final, rankings of this. My biggest winner is the Jazz and the Wizards mainly. Those are my 2 top probably winners. And then I don't know, probably the Timberwolves probably might be my 3rd best winner. But overall, I think, this draft can play out a lot of different ways. This is just my, initial take on, where I grade this draft. Obviously, we'll have to see maybe a year or 2 down the road how the prospects actually turn out playing. But yeah, so thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.